Here on the Art Beat of Chattanooga, Steve Disbrow.
Hi, everybody.
Improv Chattanooga. Steve is kind of a regular around here now.
Yes, this is my 352nd appearance on this show, and I enjoy it very much. Oh my God!
So every day when you're not on the show, you're pretending you're on the show, right?
I am. I actually do. I do 15 minutes, and I say hi to Russell, even though he's nowhere in the room. And it's always that's always fun.
Yeah, Russell's the guy in the background that you always see
that's
running
him
around.
right there. Right.
Without him, I'd be kind of dead in the water. Yeah, that's Russell. If you're watching on Facebook Live, we're feeding on Facebook Live right now and YouTube. Also, Nooga Radio 92.7 FM, AM 1240. So we're broadcasting all over the place. And I'm excited because I have been to the shows that Improv Chattanooga does. And I didn't know. Yeah.
Were they good?
Very good.
Oh,
I
good.
love it. Yeah.
Good, very good.
They're funny. They're fast moving.
Yes.
You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, we never know when the cops will be there, so we have to move very fast. Because normally we're not even supposed to be in those venues, which is why I'm so glad to be here today to talk about the news that I have to talk about today.
Yeah, it's kind of an explosion of things going on for you, Steve. So
that's true.
You were located downtown on Main Street.
Well,
your offices.
Yeah, we have offices. I'm in my day life, I'm a web developer. My hobby's been Improv Chattanooga for a long time, and so we had an office in the Clear Story building where I could do my web development during the day, and then we could teach workshops at night. It was large enough, and then we performed at various venues around town, like the Grand Falloon, Barking Legs Theater, the Comedy Catch. But now we have gotten into our own theater space. We're going to be opening that up on June 30th.
Well, that'll be a big gala that day, and I got to make sure my calendar's clear to come to that.
You certainly do.
And I'm curious. I wanted to see the showdown, and I know you had this spot theater thing.
Yes.
I drove all the way over there to see the show, and I get there, and it looks like an abandoned building.
Well, it sort of was for a while. And the folks at Spot, Lance and Sarah, they were fantastic, and I highly recommend that if you have an event that you're looking to plan, that you contact them. Spot's Athletic and Arts Center. We were doing a show called Improv Showdown there on Friday nights, and we set that up before we found this new venue. And so we did 3 shows there on Friday nights, and getting the new venue ready in time for the June 30th opening is going to be kind of problematic. So we've canceled those last 3 shows, so there won't be a show there tomorrow night. Well, and also, there's a big drunken festival happening somewhere in town this weekend.
Isn't it the beginning of the whole Nightfall, or Riverbend? Nightfall too.
No, there's no Nightfall during Riverbend.
Yeah, they actually canceled for 2 weeks in lieu of the other festival going on. So
so I'm not a Riverbend person, so I haven't been there in a while. If they'll get Kiss or Weird Al Yankovic, I'll go back. But
there you go.
Those are my hard limits.
Well, you sure get a sea of humanity down there. It's just packed normally, and Chattanooga's hopping.
That is true.
So it's wonderful. So I did want to see the showdown because I thought it was probably going to be pretty funny. Are you going to do some more?
No,
of that?
that is going to be our very first show on opening night on the 30th. We're going to have, once we're open, we're going to have 4 shows a week: 2 on Friday night, 2 on Saturday night. There'll be an 8 o'clock show and a 10 o'clock show. The Showdown, Improv Showdown, which is a competition style show where you have team captains picked from the audience, volunteers from the audience. And then those team captains, they watch a group game so they can get an idea for what each improviser is capable of. And then they pick their team Sandlot style. And then they have a competition where they pick from various games that we have available. And then, the audience votes on which scene was funniest in a particular round. And then there's a trophy given at the end of the night. And then we just do it all again the next week. It's completely meaningless points wise. It's kind of like Whose Line Is It Anyway, where the points don't matter, but it's just there to add a little extra something to the proceedings, and it's a lot of fun. The team captains get to pick names, and we've had some really bizarre names.
Oh, I bet you have.
And so that's going to be our first show. That'll be every Friday night at 8 o'clock. And that'll be every Friday night at 8 o'clock. And at 10 o'clock on Friday nights, we'll have a long form show, which is we take a suggestion from the audience, and then we go for 15 or 20 minutes. And then on Saturday nights, we will have at 10 o'clock, I'm going to skip around. I'm going to save the Saturday night 8 o'clock for last. We're going to have At 10 o'clock, we're going to have what we call the good old-fashioned improv show, which is just like get up and play games, and that'll be a lot more like Whose Line Is It Anyway?
All right, we got a phone call,
we do.
Steve. Somebody wants to talk to you.
Fine,
So
go.
I must really not the greatest
No,
at
it's all
figuring
right.
this out,
It's
but
okay.
I'll do it. Hi, how you doing? Thanks for calling. Hello?
Hi, this is Heather. I'm calling from the dealer processing department.
Wait,
regarding your vehicle's warranty.
She's
We
been
sent you
following
a
me.
final notice in the
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh! Even here we get those calls.
Oh, Heather.
If I see the number and it's from New York State, I don't answer it because for some reason they think my car warranty's up and I don't live in New York State.
Well,
anymore.
now they're actually they're calling from cell phone numbers that belong to other people.
Yeah.
So that ought to be illegal. Have they talked about that here on Hot Talk?
Yeah, David would love to talk about that with you.
That's bad.
So I wanted to. Go ahead, finish it.
Right. So 10 o'clock on Saturday night is going to be a good old fashioned improv show where we'll just get up and play a bunch of games and have a good time. 8 o'clock on Saturday night, we're going to do something completely different that's never been done here in Chattanooga before. It's going to be called Nooga with an exclamation point at the end, the improvised soap opera. We're going to be, we already had a commitment to do this at the Palace Picture House. So we're going to do the first season of this at the Palace starting June 22nd. It's going to be 6 episodes at the Palace. And it's going to be a serialized, improvised soap opera. Every week, the things that happened the previous weeks will come back and affect the characters. The characters will change, they'll grow, they'll scheme, they'll plot, they'll possibly die, depending on how we feel about a particular actor a particular week. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We've never done anything like it before. And once we're done at the Palace, we're going to be bringing that to the Improv Chattanooga Theater. The First Draft Theater is what we're calling it. We'll be bringing that to the First Draft Theater full time, and a season will run maybe 20 weeks. So it'll be like a television season where you'll have 20 episodes of something, and then we'll have a big finale at the end. And it's a lot of fun. It's done. It's an older form that requires the availability of a space on a consistent basis, because you have to do it weekly, because otherwise people just forget what's going on. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We're really looking forward to it.
As long as you get it recorded and we can binge watch it like Netflix, just if it's I'm on the cliff and I got to see the next scene.
Well, we're looking for a partner, some local media outlet to take notes every week and publish like a recap.
Well, I think that would be perfect for the Art Beat of Chattanooga to work on.
That actually would be.
It really does fit.
Come on, and that would be good to come on and give like a 5-minute recap every day.
Yeah, it absolutely fits. I could follow the soap opera and.
Yeah, it's going to be like the first one's going to be set in a hotel that has a name that looks like a color, but isn't that hotel. So that's where that's going to be set. And then we've got all these different locations that we're going to use from all over the city, all these different places that are really, really cool. Like there's the old rundown mall, the large fish tank where people work and scheme and love and dream and, fraternize inappropriately. So there's all sorts of, and then, of course there's the park on the mountain that might become a place where we do this one season. So we're really looking forward to it.
It almost sounds like Clue or something where, find it was Stephen Disbrow in the closet.
Well, you know what? We're working with Chattanooga Cycle Boats on a murder mystery on the river. So you'll go out, get on the boat. It'll be about 2 hours. We ran our first beta test of it a couple days ago. It still needs some work because as a murder mystery, you can't kill somebody on a boat 15 minutes in and then have them lie there for 2 hours. It's very different when you do a murder mystery, like for dinner theater. Somebody can die. When we would do these in the past, like we would do them at the Creative Discovery Museum, I would come out in drag usually and be killed.
I can't believe I've never seen that one yet.
This weekend.
Right,
I would come out.
I'm gonna show up for sure.
I would come out in drag, be murdered, and then they would drag my body off, and 5 minutes later I would come back as the detective. And then we would go through but you can't do that on a boat, especially not the paddle boat, because it's very, very tiny. It's about the size of this room, actually.
Very clever, very clever. Yeah. So, so many exciting things going on at Improv Chattanooga, which is basically shifting the name to the name of your full company, First Draft Productions.
Well, that's going to be the name of the theater.
Of the theater is
right.
First
It'll be First Draft Theater, the permanent home of Improv Chattanooga.
Okay.
We'll have Improv Chattanooga on the marquee outside, because that's easy to. Oh, that's an improv show. I see that. I know what to do there. I know to go and give them money and laugh. if you see theater on the marquee, well, what's happening this week? Well, who knows?
It is very affordable, though, I have to say. I mean, this isn't something you got to save up for.
Well, we're raising the price to $10 a show. So, but we're going to honor all of the discount tickets that we have out there in the wild right now. They all say Monday only. We're going to honor those for every show except for student shows. So you'll be able to get in if you've got a discount ticket, you'll be able to get in for $7 any show. And we're going to sell season passes.
So you could save a discount there.
Yes.
Wonderful. So I know that as we're sharing all, I want to make sure we get in your new things, which we're doing. I still suspect that we have listeners who are going, what exactly is improv?
What is improv?
What is it?
It's, you make up scenes off the top of your head. Like you get a suggestion from the audience and then you make up a scene based on that suggestion. The other night we had a suggestion of retainer, and we were playing a form called a herald. So the suggestion was retainer. I went out and gave a little 2-minute monologue about the word retainer and how it has applied to my life. My new wife used to be a dental assistant, so that made me think of her. And also my kids have really crappy teeth, so they got braces and retainers. So I gave a little monologue about that. And then we had a bunch of scenes based off that. In my scene, we were building a retaining wall that was holding back water. I can't remember what the other two scenes were.
Definitely somewhere a lawyer had to come into that for a retainer.
Probably. Well, you try not to be too obvious. If the word is banana, you don't go out and say, "Hey, would you like a banana?" Maybe you're at a zoo or you're at the grocery store or something like that.
The monkey threw a banana peel at me.
Exactly. Or how did you slip and fall? So
it's very challenging to the mind and to the intellect. I find the improv, even watching it, I can tell that the brain has to really be engaged.
Yes. Yes. You had we've discussed this on this show before, but the basic rules of improv that we teach. We also teach workshops. We'll be teaching workshops at the first draft.
Yeah, let's share that because I know that there's people listening who are going to be very interested. It actually benefits your level. Even just hearing you talk to me about improv and the whole yes and has changed my communication all over my life.
Yeah. We've got a series. Our next beginners class, because we've got all this other stuff going on. Our next beginners class is not currently scheduled until September the 5th. Go to improvchattanooga.com and click on classes to sign up for that. But we may roll out some other classes in the meantime if we get everything else finished.
But the classes are, you might picture sitting at a desk or whatever. These are interactive, fun, very interactive classes that you're running around and you're creating scenes.
Yeah, my non-sexual life partner, Kevin Bartolomucci, who is a small albino man. He is my partner in teaching these classes.
He's actually here. You just can't see him.
He's running around.
We couldn't get him up to the mic or anything. He's so tiny. Yeah. Sorry, Kevin.
And he's got laryngitis.
Kevin, stop it. No, settle down.
But so Kevin is going to kill me, and he'll be teaching these classes by himself. But that's fine. He's fully qualified. Where was I? I don't remember.
Now we're just stuck on the pygmy albino thing. So, we were explaining improv to the listeners so that they know exactly what it is.
The basic rules of improv. Normally you'll hear the underlying rule of improv is yes and. When you're in a scene with someone, they give you something. They say something to you. What you're supposed to do is say yes to that thing, and then you're supposed to enhance it. You're supposed to say yes and. So, for example, if you say, "That's a nice hat, Steve," I say, "Yes, and I got it at Belk." So we know two things now. I'm wearing a hat, and I got it at Belk. And then it goes from there.
Yes, and I go to that store, but they only sell clothes that fit pygmies. So it's been a little problematic.
Yes, you really should cut off some limbs if you want to shop there.
Let's see. I do have a tree that I could cut some limbs off of, and I hope it doesn't fall on a pygmy's head.
So you're dressing your trees now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They're he's and she's, the trees. Oh, yeah.
And seen.
Yeah.
So that got really weird really quick, simply because we were saying yes to everything and then enhancing it a little bit, building upon it.
So that's like the creative conduit. The yes and is the conduit to feed into the next person to bring it about. Okay.
And the underlying yes and, though, are two other concepts that we teach. I think it's two. One is listen. You can't say yes to something if you don't know what it is you're saying yes to. So you have to listen and respond. You can't just stand there and let your scene partner talk and talk and talk. So yes and listen and respond feeds into yes and we find that when we teach that, it really helps people a lot more than just teaching them yes and, because you have to get that listening part in.
Yeah, so it's very interactive and intellectually challenging. And I noticed, when I'm watching your shows, the people are having a ton of fun, and it triggers this creative spark. Sometimes they're laying on the floor, they're pretending they're pointing a gun, they're pretending they're a baby. So while you're doing this, it becomes very physical during the shows,
Yes.
at least.
And last night we had someone pretend to eat a bunch of Fun Dip, which was very interesting. The way and now we know a lot more about David than we really wanted to, how he eats Fun Dip.
Okay.
But you had to be there.
I don't even know what Fun Dip is.
It's like a candy. It's like I think it comes in like a big. It's like powdered candy.
Oh, it's like you used to stick your finger in the Jello packet.
Yeah. So
and then you'd have a red finger for like a week.
Exactly. So that was during a game called Forward and Reverse, where two actors start a scene, and then at a certain point, the host rings the bell and yells reverse, and then they have to go backwards through the scene.
Oh my!
And then you yell, and you hit the bell again. You just say forward, and they go forwards through the scene from wherever they left off. That's a very fun game, and it's a good way for the host to mess with the actors.
Man, that makes my brain just like I'd have to see that to even fathom how that actually works.
It's an interesting game. It's a lot of fun though. We did and we're also performing at the Comedy Catch still, the second Wednesday of every month. So starting in July.
So I, hope you guys, who are all the listeners, I hope you go and visit this and learn what improv is if you don't already know, if you've never experienced it, because it's a form of comedy. There's just no way around it. It may not be called comedy, but you're going to be laughing.
Yeah, no, it's comedy, it's storytelling, it's
acting,
it's theater. Yeah, it's acting, it's theater. There's a game called Switch Change. It's 4 actors, 2 are in the middle, 2 are on the sides. And the 2 in the middle start a scene, and then the host will ring the bell and you'll switch, and the 2 in the middle will switch places, but they'll assume each other's characters. And then if you ring the bell and say change, then the people on the outside swap in with people on the inside, and they become those characters. And so last night at the Comedy Catch, Kevin started the scene as a hunchback at a Starbucks looking for a venti latte with so much whipped topping on it that it spilled over. And Kevin does a very good hunchback, don't you, Kevin? For a pygmy.
He's saying yes, but he has laryngitis, and you can't see him because he's a pygmy. Yeah.
So he does a very good hunchback. And then we had this.
Stop jumping, Kevin. We still can't see you.
We had this tiny little girl, Rebecca. She's not tiny. I apologize, Rebecca. We had Rebecca, who is a petite young woman, a delicate flower, who will kill me. And she then became this hunchback character, and she did a fantastic job with it. And it's interesting to see. There are games like that where the actors can mess with each other, they can mess with the audience, and it's a lot of fun to see how they interpret each other's work live in the moment. Yeah,
this is something I find very, very challenging mentally. When I think of ever taking improv classes, and I know that one of the women that took a class had trouble following it and learning it. This is something. It's very fun. It's very fast moving, and it challenges your mind. I think if you say you're getting older and you want new connections and neurons, take an improv class, because you're going to get those new connections. We haven't had a lot of people drop out of classes, but we have had a couple people that just realize it's not for them, and they'll drop out like 4 classes in, or they'll something will happen and they can't make the showcase show. I mentioned that because I imagined she was around my age, and I thought, boy, can my brain do this?
No, actually, the people that have not been able to hang have been younger people. Take that, millennials.
Oh yeah, we love the millennials, especially here in the Art Beat of Chattanooga.
Oh right. Sorry, that's your target audience.
I think we're you a baby boomer?
No, I'm Gen X. I was born the year that Gen X started.
Oh, okay. I'm not. I think I'm a baby boomer.
You're a baby boomer.
Don't say your age, or I'll have to kill you. Then there'll be 3 people that we won't know who did it, because you've already had 2 today.
I have a lot lot of enemies.
So yeah, I can see why. I mean, So let's kind of give a quick run. Okay, self-proclaimed jerk. All right. Can we give a quick rundown again about how they can locate you online, and your very next show? Your next upcoming shows and that sort of things before we're all finished here in just a few minutes. Okay.
ImprovChattanooga.com is our website. You'll find everything there, shows, events, classes, all that stuff. Come on, let's go to an improvshow.com. We'll take you directly to our events page. Let's see. If you go to Facebook.com and search for Improv Chattanooga, or Facebook.com/Improv Chattanooga, that's our Facebook presence, and we make most of our announcements there first. We've got a mailing list you can sign up for on Facebook or on the website. Our next show is the third Monday of the month. This will be our last show at the Grand Falloon. It'll be a short form show. It's going to be a good one. The Grand Falloon's a great room. And Nooga, the first season of Nooga starts at the Palace on June 22nd. You can go to the Palace Picture House website to find tickets there. Tickets are $10 a piece or $50 for a season pass. And then we will be opening the First Draft Theater on Friday, June the 30th at 8 p.m. And we will have tickets up and available for that first thing next week.
Woohoo! That's going to be great. So just if I got this clear or not, the Nooga at the Palace, is this going to be the soap opera?
This is the soap opera. Yeah. That's going to be our first run.
Once a week for how many weeks?
6 weeks.
6 weeks. So you can get a pass for $50 for the whole thing.
Right. When we set this up, of course, Nooga, of course, the Palace, they are their own thing. They're fabulous. And we went to them before we had our new venue, and we set this up, and they could only really give us 6 weeks continuous. So we said, well, we'll do it like a Britcom. We'll do it like a season of Faulty Towers. And that's sort of our model.
That's awesome.
Or spaced, I think would probably be better in this particular case. So we're going to do a 6-week run, and it will be set in a hotel, a very famous old hotel here in town, which shall remain nameless. And it's going to be a blast.
It's going to remain nameless until the show?
Until the show, yeah, okay. Yeah. We may not have settled on a legally safe name yet.
I see. Okay, so it's going to be sounds like or something.
Sounds like or spells like. It's a homonym.
Sure.
It's the Red House.
Synonym sounds like, right?
Homonym is spelled like. Yeah.
It's spelled like. Okay. Yeah.
Homophone. I remember between the lines.
So we don't want any homophobics coming?
No, we'll take everybody. Homophobics can come out. You don't care if you're literate or not.
That's different. Yeah, everybody's welcome for sure. And personally, I definitely will be there. I want to see this.
Oh yeah, it's going to
unfold and what this is about.
It's going to be a lot of fun. The basic structure of this particular one is old money versus new money, and it's going to be an old wealthy dowager lady who is trying to keep a local young upstart who's come here to Gig City to make his livelihood. She's going to try and keep him down.
So the evil plot thickens.
And it'll just explode from there, I'm sure.
That's kind of what I see improv does, is it starts out and then everyone's excitement and intellect feeds off the other, and the scenes just shift and change. Yeah,
and that's the thing. We have no idea where this is going to go. I mean, it could end up with an extraterrestrial invasion at the end.
That would be funny. So, this is about improv, Chattanooga Improv, and they're going to be moving to the location.
Yes, we're right next to Wayne-A-Rama, between Wayne-A-Rama and the Escape Experience on Rossville Avenue, 1800 Rossville Avenue, Suite 106.
Opening June 30th. There'll be a big festival going on there. We're going to have fun that night. I'll be there, probably live broadcasting
that'd be
live
awesome.
on Facebook from the show.
Yeah.
So I hope you join Improv Chattanooga at the First Draft Theater. And congratulations, Steve, on that.
Thank you, Chattanooga.
Thanks for joining us today, Stephen Disrow, on the Art Beat of Chattanooga, Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM, AM 1240. My name's Jill Collins. I'm your host, local artist, and I love art, and that's why we're here. So if you want to talk about your art, any form of the arts, get a hold of me. Love you guys. Have a great weekend.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Need windows? Hey folks, do you need new windows? Good news. Window Depot of Chattanooga has a great special going on right now. 10 high-quality, energy-efficient double-hung vinyl windows installed for only $29.90. That's right, 10 double-hung vinyl windows, only $2,990. And yes, they qualify for the TVA rebates. Call 894-0011. Window Depot of Chattanooga today, located at 5950 Shaliford Road. Call 894-0011 today.
He stole out so much cash, such a huge mountain of cash, that he's become a national star. Rick Davis, you know the story. Cash, 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 and more cash. People can't believe it. They want to see it. And now Rick Davis has a new TV show. National TV, USA and Canada. He's got the gold and silver, diamonds and rings. You get dizzy just thinking about it. Rick's selling. Rick's buying. Cash, 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 and more cash. And now a mountain of cash catching the Hollywood spotlight. You know where it is. Brainerd Road, Rick Davis, Golden Diamonds. Cash, 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 and national TV cash. That's really big. Everyone wants to see it. Money flying out the door. Rick Davis is America's jeweler. It's better than Hollywood. It's right here. Cash, 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 and more cash. Rick Davis, Golden Diamonds, Brainerd Road.
You love me. You really love me.
Is your career taking you where you want to go? If not, talk to Covenant Group Insurance, especially if you like helping people. Call and learn how you can work for yourself, but not by yourself. Intense but free training, plus a fantastic lead program, plus office support equals your success, your prosperity. Gross at least $75,000 your first year selling insurance. Call Steve or Jada for a confidential interview. That's 855-8484. Maybe the most important call you'll make all year.
Chattanooga's best kept secret, Boyd Speedway. Come see the fastest dirt late model drivers in the South compete for a purse every Saturday night. Pit gates open at 3, grandstand opens at 5. Racing starts at 7. Bring the whole family for a night of fun as they tear it up on the dirt track. Go to BoydSpeedway.net and check out the Dirt Simulator. BoydSpeedwayDirtSimulator.com. Chattanooga's best kept secret, Boyd Speedway. Fun-filled, outrageous racing. We'll see you Saturday night.
The UCRA Crate Late Model Event. Limited late models, crate late models, sportsman, hobby, and street stocks.
Boyd Speedway.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM's news now.
7 have been arrested by the Chattanooga Police Department Special Victims Unit. They've been conducting a major sweep, tracking down individuals who have outstanding warrants. 7 have been taken in so far, and 6 are still on the loose. A possible blow to short-term rental services like Airbnb, this time in Lookout Mountain, Georgia, where officials are proposing to allow a home-sharing program, but not short-term vacation rentals. Public hearing is set for Tuesday at 5 p.m. next week at the Lookout Mountain City Hall. The proposal would double down on the ban on short-term vacation rental services. Riverside Drive in between Market Street and West Martin Luther King Boulevard still facing closures while repairs are being made. Tennessee company Madison Mill is recalling some 25,000 fold-away safety gates for kids because of a risk of strangulation. Models 23 and 25 affected. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News, now.
In-depth traffic, news, and information. Mornings on Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Expect some clouds but pleasant weather out there through your afternoon. Can't rule out a spotty shower, high settling into the upper 70s. Tonight becoming fair, comfortable again, lows upper 50s. For Friday, more sunshine, looking good. Highs into the lower 80s, sunshine getting hotter for the weekend. Celebrate the 4th with Dixieland Fireworks, locally owned with the largest and newest selection around. A Black Cat dealer with the lowest prices in Dixie. Dixieland Fireworks, just off I-75 on Ringgold Road in East Ridge. And I'm Storm Sheen 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Core. On Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Welcome back to the Art Beat of Chattanooga, where art lives. And I'm Jillian Collins, your host. Very happy to be here. Happy you're listening in or viewing today on Facebook Live or YouTube. So we just wrapped up the first half with Steve Disbrow from Improv Chattanooga. And now we're switching to the visual arts to my dear friend and master artist, Morris Mitchell, is with us today. So Morris is a returning guest, and his work is amazing. We're going to talk about a current show Mo has going on. So say hello to everybody, Mo.
Hello. Hello.
hello. How are you?
Oh, yes. I'm delighted to be here.
Yes, as I love having you on the show. And so I just love your work. And
thank you.
You know, all the chats and sometimes Mo's my mentor, and sometimes that's not easy.
It's like, not meant to be easy.
No.
Art's not easy. And people who go on and pontificate how art is easy are fools. It isn't. It's a life's pursuit, and I continually learn every single day of my life.
Yeah, and I agree with that, Mo. It's something that the passion part of it alone, handling the desire to paint, the separating the paintings that are in your head and picking one to work on at a time, and or not. You know, sometimes I work on multiples, and I suspect you do as well.
Well, the paintings in my head, painting usually starts with an idea, but as I progress, oftentimes they take changes. It's like when you're on vacation, you drive down the road and then suddenly you've got to go, oh, let's go here. So we go there. But the piece, I like to think, always ends up better by that process rather than rigidly staying with an idea, unless you're a formalist type of painter.
A formalist being what would we describe that to the listeners
Well,
as?
I mean, those who are so structured that they have a concrete image in their mind that is completed before they even paint the painting. That may not be the best description of a formalist, but let's say for contemporary practical means, we'll call it that at this time.
So more like a realist type painting where you're reproducing what you're looking at in a realistic method.
It doesn't necessarily have to be realism. It could deal. I think there are painters that work surrealistic or minimalistic, or all kind of, that have very definite ideas. I mean, I can think. I'm trying to think of a minimalist painter, Barnett Newman, who painted very minimalistic. He was one of the first, what they call it, field painters, or not field painters, but
plein air?
No. They're almost like walls of color, and then with a stripe or something.
Okay.
He was an interesting character. He ran for mayor of New York at one point. He was kind of an eccentric, but in major part of the early New York school.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different styles of art, and you have gone through many phases as an artist as well. I've seen a lot of your work.
I started out as a portrait artist, then went through minimalism, abstraction, a little bit of decorative thing. That was, I don't know why I ever did that, but I'm presently in sort of a mixed media, somewhere between modernism and conceptualism, and with smatterings of surrealism. I draw from all of the old masters, everybody from Rembrandt to de Kooning to Frank Stella, Lee Montague, or Anselm Kiefer. Those people are major. Well, the last three are major players still alive.
Okay, I was wondering if there was a modern artist current artist that you also were drawing from, and you kind of answered that right there.
Yeah, I think the artist that I probably got, the two artists that I got the most for in drawing, and drawing is very important to my work, would be first Rembrandt, and then Rico Lebrun, who died several years ago of cancer. I happened to have the good fortune of meeting him. He was a brilliant draftsman of the figure, and everything from kind of very representational kind of thing to taking the figure and pushing it to extreme limits. But they were fantastic. I just purchased a book on Lebrun. There's a whole series of California painters. He escaped from the Nazi Germany just before the Nazis took over, came to this country, and built quite a name for himself.
Yeah, our generation, well, we're in two different generations, but in this time in the United States, we don't really see how even still in this country, people are being oppressed. Not in this country, I'm sure, but in a lot of countries in the world, there's still serious oppression going on.
Oh, terrible.
And there's still people escaping. There's still refugees escaping for their lives. And, I suspect with him that you said Robert De Bruyn?
Who?
De Bruyn, was that it?
Rico Lebrun.
Okay. So he maybe through that trauma and all that experience, some of the pushing of his figures maybe was speaking about that, being pushed in life.
There's absolutely no question that he portrayed the pain and anguish of the people at the time. And matter of fact, I think there were some drawings that I remember of some of the pits, like in Dachau or Buchenwald, and some of those. Now, pretty horrible. But it wasn't. And a lot of people don't appreciate that. But the thing is, what he was doing is he's putting out there, don't let this happen again. Don't let's not bring that into this time, and so on. And his things were and some of them were very painful, but they were wonderful. I mean,
yeah, that's what I often mention too, Mo, is that is Morris Mitchell, the Art Beat of Chattanooga, and we're talking about, we're going to get to Mo's work, but right now we're having a lot of conversation about, some of the history of art and who influenced you, Mo. So that is so important. And as you're sharing, and why I interjected here was, sometimes people think art has to be beautiful or flowers or a pond, but throughout history, artists have represented all aspects of the human being's condition, including depths of despair, pain, death, and they're valid and they evoke an emotion and thought. So,
well, we can go back as far as Rembrandt, and everybody knows his work is quite beautiful and quite striking, very romantic in some cases, sometimes not, but portrayal of the time, a lot of landscape, a lot of portraits. But I remember a painting he did of a slaughtered ox, and at that time that was rejected. It was kind of gory and bloody and so on. But he was speaking as an aesthetic being, somebody who saw something much greater and much more important visually, which was visually powerful. And he saw both the beauty, possibly some of the ugliness, but ugliness has its time in life too. It's part of everyone's journey, unless you're of a privileged family, and there are very few of us that are from privileged families that have that kind of money and that kind of wonderful life.
Yeah, even they have to suffer through the human condition. Money cannot buy happiness, of course. So, this painting you're talking about, I remember the first time I've seen that painting, at least print of it, and it's quite riveting. The ox and the redness of the blood, and you can see it's slit open, and it was quite riveting for myself as a young artist to encounter a painting like that.
It's a powerful painting.
Yeah, very powerful, exactly.
Soutine did the same thing, and the police came, and he'd had this slaughtered ox that was hanging, and they said, "You can't do this. This is rotting," and so on. He had a bucket of blood that he'd splash on the slaughtered ox, and he said, "This is for art. You don't understand art." And of course, he went raging on about the importance of aesthetics and art and the profound properties that go with that, which most people don't look at or care too much about. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, a few weeks ago, I did the 10 most offensive pieces of the last 2 decades that, the powers that be that oversee the art world had deemed these pieces as the most offensive. And one of them was where, I think it was in Nicaragua, where an artist he got a stray dog, tied it to the wall, and then he spelled, "You are what you read." I don't know why it said that, but in dog biscuits above the dog. And then for the whole time, the gallery hours, where he kept this dog tied up there with no food or water every day. And he got death threats. People were outraged. And I think I can understand that too. Like, to me, that's not art, Mo. That, to me, if you're abusing an animal, if you kill an ox, you're going to use it. You're going to use its skin. You're probably going to eat it. You're going to use parts of it for life. But to just put a dog in a situation that's unhealthy and cruel and then call it art, I draw the line.
I agree. I mean, it's also like some of the other artists. I'm trying to think of the one that did the canister. It was called Piss Christ.
That's one of the ones that was in that
jar with Christ in a bottle or a jar of urine. Those things turn me off. That's all for shock value. It has nothing to do with art. It has nothing to do with the soul, or the pursuit of or the journey of life, or No, I'm totally turned off of things like that.
Yeah, that was another one that was included in the 10 most offensive of the last 2 decades. And I certainly hope that nothing I produce ever ends up in that category.
On the other hand, I see people like that like there's an artist that portrayed an artist that portrayed, thank you, the power and the pain of AIDS. And people say, why would he do that? Well, he was trying to put out to the community the suffering that goes with that and the life that they have to live and suffer with and so on. And, it's one man's choice. Artists, usually the great artists are passionate about something. This person was passionate about trying to portray the pain and suffering that goes with AIDS. So that there's a place for everything. I don't always agree with them, but they do exist. Like I have a very, very dear friend in Florida. I haven't seen him for a number of years. He's an internationally or a nationally known photographer who portrayed a burning body as it was being cremated. And it created but he's also a very profoundly meaningful artist in the sense that he's trying to dig into something that a lot of people who shun or run away from. I'm not making a choice, nor am I hanging a flag for him or against him. When I'm saying he's doing something that he believes in and portraying another side of life that a lot of people are afraid of.
Yeah, and that brings to mind, Mo, that as far as portraying through photography the cremation of a human body, if we've watched movies throughout the years where they'll put a body on a makeshift, whatever they call them, to burn bodies, and they would light the body right on fire and we would watch it, or even like all the way back to Joan of Arc. We've seen, movies of her burning at the stake, and so I don't see why it would be objectionable, because what's the difference?
Well,
other than that's real.
Well, the difference between the real thing and seeing them actually burn, and those that they portray in the movies, which are kind of glorified a bit.
Yeah, that is a point. That it is a reality thing, and I don't know how he got the crematorium to allow it.
I don't know either,
That's,
and I don't chose to dig that. I happen to think a great deal of this man. He's a dear friend. And he exercises his freedom and his passion to portray a lot of sordid things that a lot of people would not. That is not my choice, but I also happen to respect him.
Exactly. And, I think he's not harming people or creatures. That was my point about the dog thing, is if you're going to actually harm a person to get a piece of art on purpose, that's different than portraying human suffering and pain.
Exactly.
Even a person who's being cremated, they have already passed. They don't feel that. They're gone. So, that's, I guess, the dividing line is certainly for me, is I would never encourage or support artists who hurt a creature to create a piece of art, who cause it, discomfort or pain or humiliation.
Well, pain, like all the other senses that we have, is part of our journey. Sometimes it's emotional pain, sometimes it's psychological pain, sometimes it's spiritual pain, but pain is real and physical pain is real. It's just that most of us choose not to want to think about it, but it is a reality, and sometimes it should be I don't say exploited, but it should be put out there, because everything is not beautiful.
Yeah, we all need to. I agree that all the emotions are valid in art, and they're all portrayed that way. I have a painting called Survivor that portrays a very dark time of my life, and it looks like a crouching Medusa. I think I've shown it to you, and it's not what you would call maybe a technical beauty, but people who view it respond. They understand it. They feel it. So I don't want to go past time where we don't get to share about your show, Morris Mitchell. At least deemed by myself, and I'm sure many others, a modern master of the arts. And I've seen a large part of the body of your work, at least in your studio, and it's life-changing. I'll tell you that. It's life-changing. And so you do currently have a show. And if you'd share with our listeners where that show is and kind of what it means to you, that'd be great.
Sure. It's in Dalton, Georgia, and it's at Michael's Fine Art and Framing. It will be there, I think, through most of July. It started in April 1st, the first of April. It was only going to be up for a month, and it's been held up. He's keeping it up. I had a great turnout. I had about 160 people, which is a pretty good size for the visual arts. I'm very proud of the show. It is a mixed media show, which means that and most of it is on paper. The works make use of collage elements of various sorts, claws and found objects. Most all of them have a story that go with it. The pieces run from spiritual to maybe even a little on the blue side, but never. I'm not into nasty art or eroticism or anything like that. But I think the work is a reflection of me and my take on the world culture, certainly our American culture. So that the subject matter is quite varied. I'm working on a piece presently, which gives credit to Picasso, and it has a very strange title, but you have to see it down the road. The title will be just an I, dash or space C, which is just a C, and then it's thanks to Master P, with just a P. And then after that, I'll have fractured or fragmented, excuse me, not fractured, but fragmented. And I'm very excited about it because it has Picasso elements in it, but it's my take and it's not Picasso's, but it gives reverence to Picasso.
I think that's wonderful. And I can tell how you intellectually create in your paintings, not just through talent and skill of the hand, but of the mind, of the thought process of society, and how excited you get about, the title tells me that this is you've thought this through. There's a statement you're making here. So
most definitely. I mean, even when I worked totally abstractly, there was a story behind it. I have a painting that's been on my wall for a long time. I don't know that I even want to sell it unless somebody came along with more money than I could turn down, called Search for Purity. And it had to do with my search for a certain purity in the paint, what the paint did, how it interlaced itself, what color it had to do with it, the undulation of rhythm, movement, all those things. That's more just abstract, but there was always an intention in the work.
Yeah, and just abstract is an interesting word because I've kind of entered a more abstract type phase recently. And one of my first true abstracts I did, it's called End of Palette, and I had paint left on the palette, but I was done with the painting, and it was late at night, and I just laid this thing down, and it turned out, I think, lovely. And it ended up having it looked like I actually put feather images in it, and I didn't. So even when you're painting abstract, it still surprises you what happens. And it's fun to experiment with the paint.
But the word abstract means to take from something. So abstract oftentimes, now the difference between non-objective and abstraction are two different things. Non-objective is where, paint may be thrown on or scraped on or whatever, or use a plasterboard or whatever, rake through. That's one thing. But abstraction means to take from. That's where Picasso did. He took things from the African masks, African the culture itself, so that everything has an origin. Non-objective is, I think, what maybe you're
all right. See,
to.
This is where I tell you that Mo is sometimes my mentor, and he's always teaching me, and I love it. And never afraid to speak up about, I think you should have more contrast in this or something like that. And it's very interesting because I actually have been photographing my work in black and white and checking my contrast if I'm working in color. Take a black and white photograph. How does my contrast look when I actually reduce it down to that? And you've taught me so much, Mo, already. And we just have had a casual friendship here,
Right.
like never actual instruction, which I would love. But both of us are busy people. But so Mo is showing currently in Dalton, Georgia,
Right.
at Michael's
Fine Art and Framing.
Michael's Fine Art and Framing. And how can our listeners find you online to look at your website and your work?
It's if you take Walnut, if you're coming down.
No, online, Mo.
Online. How do I find?
Do you have a website?
I do, and it's in process of changing. So I would not particularly want people to see it at this point. It will be changed.
All right, so we'll give it the next time you come on then.
Okay.
You do have a Facebook page, which you don't go too much. Is there any artwork on there?
No.
All right. So if you want to see Mo's work for right now, go to Dalton, Georgia, because
please,
we artists, I guess you want to change the venue of your website to reflect more, maybe what you're currently more interested in.
Yes. In recent work.
All right. Well, can you just give the website in case someone just wants to take a peek?
Sure. It's morrismitchell.com.
morrismitchell.com, and it is changing, but even Mo's been an artist for pretty much his whole life, and I've seen a lot of his work, and I'm telling you, this man's a modern master, and it's my joy, Mo, to have you on the show and promote your art and encourage people to go see the show in Dalton, because it is a wonderful show. And if you don't know or remember, if you want to review this on YouTube to get where it is, or if you want to email the station, I'll be sure to get back with you if you need the location of that show, so you can always find out. But Mo, I just appreciate so much, and we haven't picked up this painting on YouTube. You can see it on Facebook. We can't really get it in there right now, but there's a beautiful puzzle piece painting back here that I've never seen before. What's the title of it, Mo? We got like 3 seconds.
It comes from the sea.
All right, our music's playing. We're gonna have to leave that as a secret till the next time because we're out of time. But thank you, Morris Mitchell, for joining me on the Art Beat of Chattanooga. I'm Jill Ann Collins, your host, local artist, and this is Nooga Radio 92.7 AM 1240. I hope you all go out and have a wonderful weekend this weekend. Go downtown to the huge festival that's going on. 100 different bands throughout the next 8 days starting Friday.
News and information. Mornings on